Right, buddy, welcome back to your latest Manchester United news. We'll be talking the latest on Joshua Zirkzee and Ligt being out of training. We'll be talking about Mateta and what his exit from Crystal Palace could mean for Manchester United as a potential option this summer. We'll also be talking about Ruben Neves, Loftus-Cheek, and giving you a summary on the latest Manchester United news. Now, the first thing I want to start off by talking about is these two players. So they were missing from Manchester United training. Joshua Zirkzee and Matthijs de Ligt were absent from Manchester United training on Wednesday morning. So two players who, again, two different roles in the squad. But for me, two very important players in their own ways. Now, one Zirkzee, we don't know what his injury is. I mean, he wasn't in the squad in the last game. But again, we don't know what his injury is. Now, the one concerning factor for me would be on Matthijs de Ligt. The fact that Manchester United haven't kind of given any update on him, even from when Ruben Amorim was still here, up until now, we really haven't had an update on him. Now, the last game that he played for Manchester United was on the 30th of November against Crystal Palace, and the concern would be that he'd be out for 3 weeks. Now, again, was that Amorim lying? Obviously, it looks like it is because he hasn't been out. He's been out for over a month now, going into two, and I don't think it'd be anything to be concerned of. I think the aim is kind of for him to be back soon, but he wasn't in training again. So again, that's a lot of games missed for De Ligt. I think it's a huge blow not having De Ligt back in the team. He's a quality player, and I think he adds a lot to this Manchester United team in his own way. I think he's a player for me who has a unique profile, and I think we have missed his leadership at times and quality in this Manchester United team. Now, again, people will probably potentially raise question marks on the fact whether he can play in a back four. I certainly think he can. I think him and Martinez would be a good partnership. I think him and Euro and him and Heaven would be a good partnership. Now, the one concern would be if he's partnered with Maguire. I think the two very similar profiles there. Listen, De Ligt's not slow, don't get me wrong, but I do kind of cause a concern for the pace in that aspect of a back four. But listen, it'd be great to see De Ligt back soon. Hopefully it's not too long before you see him in the Manchester United shirt, because again, as I said, I think his leadership at times has been missed. Also his quality. I mean, he started the first 13 games in the season and he was fantastic in all of them. I remember Arsenal, he was brilliant. In the opening game, he was classed against Arsenal. Against Chelsea, he was good. Palace, he had a few slip-ups, but on the whole was good in that game. So I'm hoping to have De Ligt back soon because he's a very key, valuable member of this squad. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Ruben Neves. Again, he has been linked with a move to Manchester United. So a move to Real Madrid certainly pleases Ruben Neves, but Florentino Perez is coming in his way. The Madrid president isn't keen on making a new additions in the mid-season window. It gives Manchester United the easy route to sign Neves in January. Manchester United would be willing to spend 20 million euros to sign Neves in January, which is around 17 million pounds. Now, what I would say on Ruben Neves, again, is he a player that maybe goes on to win the Premier League at Manchester United? No. Is he a player in the short term who massively improves our option? Yes. Now, we know Manchester United ethos and things is not to go out and get players for the short term. They want to go out and get players for the long term and players who are expected to be at the club for 5, 6 years or longer than that potentially. And I think Ruben Neves, yes, he is 28 going on 29, but I think the longevity of his deal would be a cause for concern because it would be a short term thing at Manchester United. But again, he's someone I would like at the club. I think he massively improves the quality in this team. He adds a lot of sort of experience, quality. He's a deep line playmaker. And again, he's a better player than Ugarte. Now, again, concerns would be whether you actually go for the wage as well and the likelihood of him ultimately joining the club. But I think Ruben Neves for me is an interesting one because talks haven't stopped throughout January about Ruben Neves. We know that United have an interest in him. Apparently, they have been talking to his agents. So we will have to wait and see what happens. But I think Ruben Neves is a top player and would massively improve this Manchester United team. Again, Casemiro looks like he's a one-game-a-week man, which again is what United have at the moment. Ugarte is not good enough and we need options in that midfield. So apparently if United are going to go out and get someone, it would be a midfielder. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, there has been some more talks about Ruben Loftus-Cheek, which we'll talk about. So Ruben Loftus-Cheek was obviously that secret midfielder that Manchester United were offered. Again, no decision has kind of been made on whether Manchester United are going to go out and get him. Talks have kind of stopped at the moment, and I don't think Manchester United would go out and get. So yeah, Ruben Loftus-Cheek has been floated in the recent days as a secret midfielder. However, there has been no contact. So again, that's all I really need to say on that deal. No contact made. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is this is a potential sort of option for Manchester United. Now, we've seen today that John Philippe Mateta has requested to leave Crystal Palace. He's already informed the club he does not want to move to the Saudi Pro League and he wants to stay in the Premier League or the Serie A. Following talks with Aston Villa, Juventus, Mateta hopes a January move for decision is now in Palace's hands. Negotiations remain ongoing. Jean-Philippe Mateta told Crystal Palace he wants to leave. French striker has no plans as it stands to sign a new deal. Mateta wanted to move to Juventus, but the Serie A side offered a loan with an obligation that was unacceptable. Aston Villa are now showing an interest alongside pursuit of Tammy Abraham. Understand Palace value Mateta around £40 million. I mean, that is ridiculous in itself. I mean, Mateta is someone who, again, maybe the goals have dried up, but every time I've watched him, particularly against Manchester United, he is a nuisance and he does cause problems, whether that's him scoring goals. Just being a nuisance for defenders, and he is 28, which is a more experienced striker, and he is someone I'd like at United. The £40 million as well, I think it'd be very, if you get Zirkzee to go and you bring in Mateta, £40 million, it definitely is a good option. Now, I know United hasn't been linked with him, but it wouldn't surprise me if United go for him. He's experienced. He's at the right age. He can score goals. And again, he'd be a different sort of profile to Sesko. Now, again, as I said, it's all dependent on whether Manchester United go out and sign him. That's a totally different matter. But I'm hopeful that we do. Because, listen, I think Sesko can become a top player for Manchester United. But he's like another market opportunity that Manchester United can go for. I mean, Mateta, 40 mil. It would be a great option, in my opinion. I see more positive than negatives. I mean, what would the negatives be with Mateta? Potentially his wage demands, potentially the fact that he is 28 going on to 29 and again doesn't fit the Ineos role. But the positives would be Prem experience, lethal goal scorer, different sort of style, someone from Sesko to learn under, and I think he would relish the role at Manchester United. But we will have to wait and see what happens. But that has been your latest update. Some interesting stories in there surrounding Manchester United as always. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.